Have you ever thought about the one resource in a hospital that is absolutely non-negotiably essential but completely invisible? We're talking about medical oxygen. It is literally the silent battery powering human resilience. But what happens the exact second a hospital's supply runs out? For decades, the answer was just a terrifying race against the clock. Well, not anymore. Today, a really fascinating blend of artificial intelligence, climate data, and clean energy is completely rewriting that reality.
Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a massive, literal, life-or-death global challenge, managing medical oxygen. We're going to explore an incredible technological leap. We are going from basic electronic monitoring to decentralized AI-driven power systems that are quite literally making oxygen out of water. Section 1. The Invisible Lifeline.
You see, medical oxygen isn't just another hospital supply item. It's a biological battery powering human life, especially in intensive care. If this supply chain breaks, failure is just not an option. So to keep watch over this lifeline, hospitals use something called telemetry. If you've ever seen a patient hooked up to a heart monitor, that is telemetry. But hospitals also use it on their infrastructure, keeping a remote, continuous eye on the gas pressure inside massive oxygen tanks.
Section 2. The Limits of Telemetry.
But when we zoom out to that infrastructure level, we hit a wall. Traditional telemetry is totally reactive. For the longest time, the industry standard relied on electrochemical sensors. Think of them like cheap batteries that deplete, drift, and just die after maybe a year or two. Now, modern systems have upgraded to advanced zirconium oxide sensors, which are amazing, giving drift-free readings for over a decade. But even with a 10-year sensor, there's a fatal flaw baked right into the system design.
And it all comes down to this number, 19.5%. That's the official OSHA action level for oxygen deficiency. Traditional systems stay totally silent until the tank drops to exactly 19.5%, and only then does a massive 90-decibel horn go off. But think about what that actually means. It's just a reactive siren screaming that you have a crisis right now. It gives you zero foresight to actually prevent the crisis in the first place.
Section 3. Predicting the oxygen countdown.
So what if we could shift from just detecting an empty tank to predicting a shortage way before that alarm ever sounds? Enter artificial intelligence. The AI engine takes in raw cellular telemetry, things like cylinder pressure and flow velocity. But instead of just looking at the number, it runs complex thermodynamic calculations using ideal gas approximations. By mapping the hospital's historical data against the current pressure drop, the system literally calculates a precise, down-to-the-minute timeline to zero.
This is a complete paradigm shift. Hospitals aren't sitting around waiting for a siren anymore. They aren't just reacting to emergencies. By forecasting the countdown, they proactively optimize their entire supply chain. They can schedule a refill days before the situation ever gets critical.
Section 4. AI and Climate Intelligence.
Now, predicting one tank's depletion is cool, but it's just the start. Oxygen demand isn't static. It constantly shifts based on what is happening out in the world. To scale this up, the system uses an elegant privacy-first 4-stage AI pipeline. It ingests local telemetry, runs depletion analytics, correlates climate data, and finally optimizes production. And it does all of this locally, keeping highly sensitive data totally secure without relying on vulnerable outside servers.
The really mind-blowing part is stage 3, climate correlation. The system actually pulls in external environmental data, stuff like PM2.5 particulate pollution, humidity, and temperature shifts. By crunching those factors, the AI can anticipate a surge in respiratory crises before patients even walk through the hospital doors. It is literally translating weather forecasts into an oxygen forecast, telling a whole region exactly what they are going to need next week.
Section 5. Electrifying the Global South.
Okay, so this predictive intelligence is phenomenal. But in places like sub-Saharan Africa, we hit a massive roadblock. The best AI on Earth is completely useless if you don't have reliable electricity. To solve this, innovators created what they call the Just Add Water solution. It's a regenerative PEM, or proton exchange membrane fuel cell. These solar-powered, decentralized systems deliver up to 60 kilowatts of clean, off-grid power to hospitals. But here is the kicker. Because they use electrolysis to create energy, literally splitting water molecules, they naturally produce high-purity medical-grade oxygen as a byproduct. You get electricity and oxygen simultaneously, right on site.
Contrast this elegant, closed-loop approach with the old, fragile way of doing things. Historically, remote hospitals were at the absolute mercy of vulnerable global supply chains. rolling blackouts, and dirty diesel generators. But now, through decentralized electrochemical generation, these critical care facilities are entirely independent. They've become their own power grid and their own oxygen factory.
Section 6. The Future of Care. We aren't just talking about theoretical tech here. This is active infrastructure changing lives today. And the scale is simply staggering. 204 megawatts. That is how much clean energy has already been generated for critical care facilities using this technology. It's a massive victory for global infrastructure, bridging the gap between cutting-edge tech and desperate human need.
But let's anchor those energy stats in actual human lives. Over 11,000 patients have been directly impacted, and more than 2,000 hospitals are actively receiving this life-saving, on-site oxygen right now. It is a brilliant testament to what happens when you decide to solve a problem from first principles.
And there's a profound environmental benefit here too. By completely ditching those complex transport logistics and dirty diesel generators, this decentralized approach has already avoided 77 tons of CO2 emissions. It's one of those rare win-win scenarios where providing dramatically better healthcare simultaneously gives us a cleaner planet.
The guiding philosophy behind this whole movement is beautifully simple. We imagined a future where cars, homes, and hospitals are powered with water. It really proves that if you strip a massive problem down to its absolute most basic elements, hydrogen, oxygen, and intelligent data, you can completely revolutionize our most critical global industries.
We've just seen how predictive AI and decentralized fuel cells can secure the invisible lifeline of medical oxygen. But look at the building blocks we're playing with here: data, water, and intelligent software. It makes you wonder, what other global crises are just waiting to be solved when we combine AI with clean, decentralized energy? Thanks for joining us for this explainer. Keep questioning, and we'll see you next time.